Yeah, I think your program is cancelled to TSFA. For them, I think today it is holiday. Okay, that's why you have cancelled. Otherwise, I have seen you are about to leave. That's why I thought that you are leaving. And but you are staying. The sun is hot. I think today power is also not there. But still, you have some time to go. I think you can. We will be here up to 3:30. Okay, then. Uh, I think in the morning, I think our Kausiddhartha has taken class, I think, on biodiversity conservation. I think. They are basically 8th and 9th high school students of two schools. So, okay. Then what do you know about forestry, biodiversity? You come to know. Forestry, I think you must have studied in your social sciences subjects. I think we have a long history of forests. Ours is a very forest history is very long. I think during Ashoka period they were conserving forests and wildlife. Ashoka he has promoted tree planting, and that you must have studied in your classes in social sciences. And you may be having some inputs in science subjects also about forestry, and then in social science also you must have studied about forestry, history of forests. Basically, ours is a very traditional country. Our forests are used to be managed very traditionally, whether in ancient period or medieval period. Our rulers were very fond of. They have our forests. They have conserved our game reserves for hunting. They used to hunt, but at that time the forest was considered to be very abundant resource. It can never be depleted, and that population was pressure was less, and those days population was less, and it was managed with certain rules, traditional rules, and they were managing that. That time it was not too much commercial exploitation was not done. They were limited for housing and for other shipbuilding and other construction, and for making carts and other things. It was used, forest resources was used. But when Britishers came, it was commercialized. As you know, Europeans invaded our country, no? Why they have invaded?
So that they can loot our
For the sake of business they have come. But why they have business? Because they were not having. India was prosperous country at that time. Business people means they were having less resources. They were traded like spices were available in India only, and muslin and cotton clothes were available in India only. Other Indian handicrafts and goods were very valuable at that in those days. For that reason, all European countries were trading through land route first, and in between that Muslim Turkey area, some Byzantine Empire Muslim rulers they were obstructed, and they were started through sea route. And sea route also, who discovered, who first came to India? This Europeans, Vasco da Gama. He first came to this Kerala coast, and then they have occupied Goa and they have ruled. And who discovered America? Columbus. Actually, Columbus wanted to come to India because India was prosperous, and somehow he went to America, and there he discovered America, and they have found there that Latin Americans, their local native people, red Indian people, because they were also, their face also looked like Indians only, but their faces were red, our faces are brown, and he called them as red Indians. They were the local aboriginal people, and they have colonized America, and they were ruling Europeans. But what is the other motive behind these Europeans? They, why they could able to conquer Asian countries, America, and colonized Africa, Latin American countries, and these European people, whether Portuguese or French people or Spanish people, Dutch people, the British people, they only have colonized most of the territories of the globe. And the superior power was were having superior navy. That is the reason they could able to travel through sea route, and they could able to conquer many states. And before that, Indians were also having good navy during, I think, Cholas, Pandyas, and our Vijayanagaras, and Marathas. They were having good naval forces, and our Cholas, and they conquered Southeast Asian countries like Cambodia, this Vietnam, and Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, and all these countries they have conquered, and they have constructed temples. They have ruled also for some time. This afterwards, this because of this Mughals and this sultans, Delhi sultans and other sultans, Mughals, they have conquering, and they want to confine to our territory only. They could not retain their rule in Southeast Asian countries. Our people, Cholas, this Cholas, Pandyas, others, and Vijayanagaras, they were also having very good naval forces. But for and those days for shipbuilding, what was the important requirement for shipbuilding? What was the raw material for that shipbuilding? Timber was the ship. Without timber, they could not able to build ships. Only timber. Timber from where they will get? Only forest only. Uh, Without forest, you will not get timber. Without timber, they could not make ship. Without ship, you can't go to other territory and conquer. No? And European was also having superior naval forces. Superior navy means they are having very good seaworthy boats, ships. That's why they could able to travel for years together from sea, and they could able to come to India through sea route. They were having good ship. They have built good ships, and they were having good naval forces, good and good sailors. They were Vasco da Gama and other people. They were good sailors. That's why they could able to travel, and they could able to conquer the other territories. And they were having good oak forests there in Britain and other European countries. They are having coniferous forests only, not like India in teak, sal, and other timber species. They were having oak trees. They used to make boats, ships. Oak tree is a coniferous forest. In our Himalayan region also we can find oak tree, but not in southern part of India. We southern part of India we find teak is the main, and central India sal forests are also there. But the Britishers they came, and they in the around say 17th century they came, and with the intention of trading. But subsequently they were noticed our forests, their forest resources depleted, and what they have come, they have uh, started venturing into our forests, and they have started commercial exploitation of forests in India. And at that time, the Britishers, the first tea plantation was made in Kerala in Nilambur. They have made commercial tree plantation. That was. Otherwise, in India, they were only whatever is available. They were sustainably harvesting, and they were fulfilling their needs. But for Europeans, they needed timber in large quantities, for especially teak and other valuable timber for shipbuilding, so that they can able to maintain their naval forces. And with that intention only, they have started commercial plantations in India, and they have made started commercial working also. Our organization is also, our headquarters is at Dehradun. Dehradun, there is a very huge building, Forest Research Institute building is that was constructed with Britishers, with the intention of studying our forests and making systematic study of forests. At that time only they began. I think the Germans were the pioneers in forest scientific management. They have started. They have silvicultural practices, scientific forest management. Germans, the Britishers brought one German forester, Brandis, and he has established Forest Research Institute at Dehradun, and that is our headquarter now also. In Dehradun, if you happen to visit, there our headquarter is there, and under that now they have made it a council. Under that we are working for Institute of Forest Biodiversity. What I want to say is the Britishers started systematic scientific forest management in India, and not only that, forest laws were the only traditional rules were there for grazing rules and other traditional rules, hunting rules were there. They were following Mughals also. They have established many gardens, Mughal gardens you call, and they were also very fond of hunting, and they were conserving their hunting reserves. They were conserving. They were not allowed anybody else to enter. Even in Nizam in Hyderabad, they were having their own reserves for now. Kas Brahmanandar National Park. That was the Nizam's that. game reserve, hunting reserve, and subsequently government acquired, declared it as national park. Like that, they were preserving and for their own hunting and other purposes, for their own timber requirements and other purposes. Our local kings were also protecting the forests and they are conserving and managing. But when Britishers came, they have started scientific management and they were extracting commercial exploitation. At that time, the Britishers only, for their trade, they needed railways also. How they will transport raw material to their country? Cotton and iron ore, coal and other raw materials, other raw materials like cotton and silk and coffee, tea, spices and dye, indigo dye, and other uh, they were exporting to their country. They were and minerals, other minerals, valuable minerals like iron ore and other bauxite, and they were exporting to their country. They were making goods and again they are bringing and selling in our country. For that reason, they needed railways,
Station. Trains.
railway trains. They were railway lines first. Thane they have established in 1853 or somewhere in 19th century. They have established first railway and railways also for railway coaches. They need timber only. Now they are making this metal coaches, but at that time old trains you must have seen only during our childhood. Only this timber coaches we used to travel in, timber coaches only, railway coaches, including berth and all that container used to be a timber. Earlier used to be even trucks also, they used to make only bus body also, they used to make only timber body only at that time, truck body and this railway coaches also timber, entire is a timber coach only, including sleeper berths, everything used to be sleep. And that railway for laying tracks also, railway sleepers, for that too they cut our what salt trees they have cut. They used to lay this salt sleepers and they used to lay the railway tracks so that it can hold the tracks, it will not detach. And for railway tracks they have cut our forests. That's why our forests were very fast depleting, and they have noticed it too. And they only made the first forest laws in India. Right, they have made established forest department in India first, and uh, the Brandis were the first inspector general in our country. They have made first inspector general of forests for India, Brandis. The British foresters used to be for various states. They have established Indian Forest Service also, and they have made forest laws also. And still we are following the same laws. 1927 they have made Indian Forest Act. Still we are following because and they were imposed many restrictions on forest harvesting, extraction, grazing and other rights. First they have, I think 1864 or 1865 they have made first forest law, and that was amended in 1927, and that law is still we are following. Like many other Indian Penal Code and other acts, all laws they have, Britishers they have made, still we are following, still they are in force, they are effective. And like Indian Forest is also Act is also effective, because nobody will listen, no? Without a rule who will listen? And for some law is required, no, for regulating. That's why they have made laws. Britishers they are good at making laws, British. And they have made other laws, and forest laws also they have made. They have imposed simultaneously, they have imposed many restrictions. Even everything was available free earlier days. Tribals in our country, tribals, farmers, other forest dwelling communities, they were depending on our forest resources only for their existence. Many tribals communities they depend on forests only for, they collect fruits, vegetables, tubers, food, leaves, and other any everything, honey and amla, everything they get from forest only, because our biodiversity is very vast. Earlier they used to get everything from forests. Uh, Everything was available, and animals were available for hunting and eating food, and for cultivation and other timber, small timber, fruits, vegetables, everything they were getting, and for cattle grazing also they used our forests. But when Britishers they have imposed laws and they have made lot of restrictions, and they were started collecting revenue also for using forest, for cutting trees, and they were imposing penalties, fines for cutting trees. And they were those laws were very strict, and they were not allowing cattle to be grazed, They were not allowing this tribals. What they do, the podu cultivation, shifting cultivation. They were not allowing shifting cultivation, and they have declared our forests as three types of forest: protected forest, reserved forests, and village forests. Three types of forests they have made, but to reserve forests they were not allowing anything. Everything is reserved. They were only harvesting timber, and they were, if anybody cuts a tree, they were imposing fines. Such were the restrictions they have made, and lot of revolts came because the tribals were depending on our forests. Like Santal rebellion. Santal, huh? Santal revolt. Why they revolted? Against the forest laws of Britishers. Against they have agreed. Birsa Munda was the Santal leader. Santals, they live in Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Bihar, Bengal, Orissa, and all this eastern part of India. They Santal tribes. Yeah, this Santal tribes. Santal leader was the Birsa Munda. In those days he was having around more than 1 crore followers. He has united entire Santal belt. All tribals he has united, and they have revolted for against the British uh, forest laws. And the Britishers also, they have suppressed their revolt with force. They used to tie these rebellions to their cannons. Cannons, this pirangulu. They used to tie and they used to blow. Like that, they have suppressed this Santal rebellion and other tribal rebellion, like Alluri Sitaramarazu in Vishakhapatnam area, and other tribals. Omaram Bhim also, they fought against Nizam. Here Britishers were not there. Nizam. Like that, many areas tribals they have revolted against the Britishers, against their forest laws. But law is also required for conserving. But those laws were very against our Indian culture or tradition or thing. They were suitable for British period, but India, they were sustainably managing. Indians were with certain rules, regulations, with uh, with the traditional rights and concessions were there. But when Britishers they have imposed their own laws and rules, that led to many rebellions, and they have suppressed it. And subsequently, still this reserve forest, protected forest, still the same nomenclature we are following. We are the same. But after independence, also we are following the same reserve forest. Now also they call reserve forest only. Now our office this is existing in Dulapalli Reserve Forest. They have allotted to us. This is a reserve forest only. We can't to divert it for any other purpose. We can use it for only forest purpose only. Like that, national parks also. That is necessary for conserving our forest area. Otherwise, for development, everything forest will vanish, and it is necessary. But in those days, it was new. If suddenly imposed means it will lead to revolt. But now, even we are recognizing tribal rights also. Those who are living in forest areas for 3 generations or 75 years, they have made Forest Rights Act 2008, 6, and up to 5 hectare land will be given to traditional forest dwellers who are living in the forest area for 3 generations or 75 years, and their rights will be recognized, and they up to 5 hectare land will be given for cultivation only. But the land title will remain same, the reserve forest only, and they cultivate, and they can not for commercial purpose. They can't for sell, or they can't make any constructions. But we have recognized it, and like that, forest laws still there. After independence also, we have made many other laws, forest laws, like 1972 Wildlife Protection Act, because wildlife was also becoming extinct, because a lot of poaching and wildlife article trade was also going on for skin of tigers and other elephant tusks and other. They were killed, and their other countries there was a lot of demand, and they were exporting, and that's why they have made this Wildlife Protection Act also in 1972 for conserving our wildlife. Wildlife includes not only animals, but also plant varieties also. Everything includes those existing in the forest area, that it comes under wildlife. Whether any plants or animals, everything is. And now, as per Wildlife Protection Act, we are declaring as sanctuaries and national parks also. Sanctuaries means for protecting any particular animal species, like a tiger, for elephant, or any other uh, any rhino, any other special animals, or any birds, or any important a wildlife area, those can be declared as sanctuaries. Sanctuaries are meant for protecting certain species of animals or birds or plants. The sanctuaries also made now, and the national parks also declared. National park, if it is declared, if it is having a lot of biodiversity, they are declaring as national parks. National park, everything is prohibited, and in sanctuaries, hunting and other thing, other activities are prohibited. But national park, everything, you can't collect leaf also, you can't enter also in national park without permission. You have to, for that national park, nothing can be permitted. You can't do any intervention, you can't cut trees, you can't plant also. Whatever is there, you have to preserve as it is in national park. Why that is needed? Because since the beginning, since human beings came on earth, the evolutionary process is taking place in forest areas. Forests were not disturbed. That's why evolutionary process has occurred. And since primitive animals to now, they have evolved into human beings. But now the evolutionary, many species are becoming extinct. We are interfering with their normal course of evolution. Many species, they are becoming extinct. Whether new species will evolve to adjust to climate change or changing environmental conditions will not occur. But if we preserve the forest or entire ecosystem as it is, the natural course of evolution will take place, and new species may come emerge out after few thousand years or something. Evolution will not come within a short period, it will take lakhs of years. Our human beings evolved for some lakhs of years after, from our predecessors, homo, other homo species to homo sapiens. It will take some 40 lakhs years for evolution, and our homo sapiens came around just 1 lakh years before that many um, things happened. Some lakhs of years, there was a many our related species, they were living. Homo Cro-Magnon man, Homo neanderthal, and Neanderthal man, and relative species, they were also living, and subsequently they were evolved into human beings. And this evolution requires natural forest intact. That's what I want to tell. I don't want to tell about evolution, but if you preserve the ecosystem in its natural form, that will facilitate natural course of evolution. That's what I want to say. For that reason only, the Britishers made laws, and our Indian government also making laws. And for development, recent years development and mining and other activities, they are depleting our forest resources. For that, to 1980 also, we have made Forest Conservation Act. For any diversion, actually forests are with state government only, but they need to take permission from central government, even if for any for diversion of forest land, for even constructing a irrigation project or hydroelectric project or transmission line, or for any other development activity, for establishing any factory or any other thing, they need to take permission from central government under Indian Forest Conservation Act 1980. And these are the basically forest laws for conserving our, protecting our forests. And uh, if we have effective laws, we can protect our forest effectively. That's why these our in India, we are conserving forest better way than any other countries. Because our tiger population is increasing, our wildlife population is increasing. Our forest area, in Dehradun, we have Forest Survey of India is there. They every year they publish survey of forest report every year. How much forest cover is there, how much forest is going, how much forest fire is occurring, how much forest area is degrading, how much forest area is increasing, inside the forest as well as outside the forest, how much tree cover is increasing. All these details will be published by Forest Survey of India in State of Forest report every year. Forest Survey of India, Dehradun. And in that too, it is noticed that our forest area is increasing outside forest area, because we are planting trees outside forest areas also, along the roads, canals, bunds, and other areas, outside in colonies. Nowadays in Hyderabad city, around city, there are a lot of tree plantations are taking place. That's why our tree outside forest also increasing. As per, I think you must have studied, if we want to maintain natural, uh, our earth, protect earth from global warming and for other uh, environmental problems, we should have one third area under forest cover, one third land area under forest cover. That means 33% area should be under forest cover, it should be. But it is not there. We have recorded forest how much, around the all India average is only 22% or 23%, 24% maybe. That much only we have 23% or 24% forest cover we are having. But as per international global standards, one third, 33% area should be brought under forest cover, so that to maintain our balance, ecological balance, we, free from pollution. It should we should. But recorded forest is less. We can't increase our forest area. That is limited, and only the solution is we can grow trees outside our forest area. Outside forest means agriculture lands are there. Agriculture also we have less resources. Land resources are very limited, because most to 60% of the population is depending on agriculture only. We can't do that. That also we can't divert for forest again. But they can go for agroforestry. Agroforestry is the they can cultivate agriculture crops simultaneously. They can grow trees around the bunds and other areas. They can use the bunds and other spaces they can use, and they can plant trees. Agroforestry plantations they can make, so that our tree cover will increase, so that sometimes we can compensate for loss of forest area, or for increasing the tree cover, so that we can reduce our because this global warming is happening at a, as you know this concept of global warming, no? If the atmospheric carbon dioxide increases, what will happen? The temperature of the earth's surface will increase, rise, and that is leading to this rise of sea levels, because we have Arctic and Antarctic area. We have some the ice cap, the sea, glaciers, they are melting and sea levels are rising. That is also creating problem. With that intentionally global level, all countries, they have come together in 1992 at Rio in Brazil. They have all 192 countries they have assembled there at Rio in that is called Earth Summit. They have held at Rio in Brazil in 1992 year, and they have made three important decisions, conventions or agreements they have made. Convention on United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Climate change problems address करने के लिए address the problems of climate change. They have made an agreement called UNFCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Around 190 more than 190 countries they have signed for reducing carbon dioxide emission, and for carbon sequestration and increasing tree cover, for reducing global warming. They have made agreement, UNFCC, that is called. Another one also convention agreement also they have made. Another one is CBD. CBD means Convention on Biological Diversity. That also signed by other all the countries, all the member countries. They are called parties. Convention on Biological Diversity, and that is called Convention on Biological Diversity, also signed by many countries. And in Hyderabad in 2012, I think conference of parties 12 meeting was held. This conference of parties to Convention on Biological Diversity. దేవ్ అర్థమవుతుందా మీకు? అర్థం కావట్లేదా? ఓకే. నో నో అర్థం కాకుంటే మీకు చెప్పి అదే అదే మీకు ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉంటేనే చెప్తాను మీకు. మీ ఫేస్ అది ఎందుకంటే నేను మాట్లాడుతుంటే మా మా సైంటిస్టులకే అర్థం కాదు. ఇక మీకు ఓకే. Okay, then if you want me to speak, then I will be speak for some more time. And okay, that was Convention on Biological Diversity. And third convention was also made at same Earth Summit only. That is Convention UNCCD, Convention United Nations Conference to combat desertification. Global level desertification is also a major problem. Many forests are becoming deserts, and agriculture lands are become because of erratic rainfall. And for addressing this, reducing desertification, they have made UNCCD, United Nations Convention to combat desertification. That was the third convention. These three agreements they have made at Earth Summit in 1992, and every year they all these member countries, every year they are meeting and they are making decisions. India is also signatory, and that's why we have to follow global conventions, global international level targets we have to fulfill, international level regulations we have to follow. For that reason, we are reducing our pollution effects of, and we are planting, going for tree planting, and and we, that carbon sequestration is taking place for, and biodiversity conservation also we are taking many issues. Biodiversity if we take, but many people depend on biodiversity, and there, but at the same time biodiversity is becoming extinct. Many biological resources are traded, like many rare endangered species are traded. they are killed and transported. For regulating that only the CBD is made. India is also taking, and many species are migratory species are also there. Many certain migratory birds from Siberia they come to India for nesting, and we have to protect for many these international conventions only we can protect. National level we have laws, but international also we have certain regulations rules. All member signatory member countries they have to oblige these international conventions, and they have to protect these migratory species of birds, marine animals, like whales, tortoises, the turtles. They migrate from one continent to other continent for nesting and other purposes. The whales and dolphins and these other seals, sea animals also migrate. Turtles, leatherback turtles they call, from Australia to the Indian coast they migrate and for nesting. That is along the sea coast. We have to protect as per this convention and by CBD rules, as per international agreements and conventions, so that we can able to protect our biodiversity effectively. And migratory birds also we have to protect it, because we have a political boundaries only come. Your political boundary means our land territory we will see as our country, but animals they don't have any territory, wherever they want they can go. And they migrate. Birds they migrate to any the one continent to other continent also. Some of them are migratory birds, they migrate. And sea animals they travel to far away countries, and they have to be protected for that reason only. And protection means not only killing, and their habitat has to be protected. If we remove our all beaches, how turtles, sea turtles will they lay their eggs and they hatch um, their offsprings. Then we have to protect the beaches also, so that they will come for nesting, the sea turtles. And we have to protect water bodies also. If we protect our water bodies, the migratory birds will come in winter and they do nesting, like Pulicat Lake, Kolleru Lake. Why we are protecting? We are protecting for nesting of migratory birds. But if we destroy the lakes, and if we go for fishy culture, prawn culture, and how the migratory birds will be protected. And we have to protect our water bodies also, not only forest, we have to protect water bodies also. Then only we can protect our biodiversity effectively. Biodiversity, these migratory birds and other species we can able to protect. And marine areas also, coastal areas, we have to protect beaches, so that the migratory and sea animals also they will also be protected. And not only that, protecting the habitat is also not enough. We have to protect we should not pollute also. Nowadays pollution is a major problem for threatening the biodiversity. And not only industrial pollution, agriculture pollution, or domestic pollution, domestic sewage we are releasing into rivers, lakes, and other water bodies, and it is polluting the water bodies. And that is endangering aquatic life. And we have to reduce pollution. Nowadays this central pollution control board, state pollution control boards, what they are doing, they are imposing lot of restrictions on pollution. All industries they should establish this sewage treatment plant. They have to treat their effluents, and then only they have to release. They should not release into river. They should not pollute the river or any other water body, other lake or anything. And like domestic sewage also, nowadays this municipal corporation they are not giving permissions to colonies, apartments. They have to establish the sewage treatment plant, then only they will give permission, so that they will treat, and they will release sewage into lakes and rivers. This is for reducing pollution, for the water bodies, pollution of water bodies. And not only that, the domestics household waste disposal is also becoming a major problem. Garbage disposal, and every time many cities we are uh, collecting household garbage and dumping somewhere, and that itself is creating problem. Many cities, towns, nowadays villages also this garbage is seen, because earlier it used to be recycled. In They used to compost it, and they used to manure the agriculture fields. In villages they do it like that, but in cities they simply dump it. And that and recycling is not taking place, and that itself is polluting our land and groundwater polluting. That is causing some many diseases. We have to reduce the pollution effects also, so that not only for the biodiversity conservation point of view, for you our existence also. Pollution, if levels increases, our many it is causing many diseases to human populations also. And for that reason, because in olden days there was less goods were available, less garbage was developed. But nowadays more goods we are producing, more garbage we are, and we have to recycle. Otherwise, our even our mineral resources are also limited. We are extracting mineral resources, minerals, coal, oil, all from earth only. Wherever forest is there, the minerals are there. Wherever forest is there, coal is there, iron ore is there, bauxite is there. For that reason, without cutting the trees, we can't extract this coal, iron ore, no. And for that also, we have to. But for the development, this coal is required. How our thermal power stations will run without coal? Power is required, no. Without power, how your industries will run? And but coal is required. But we have to follow rules. We have to conserve with judiciously. We have to develop. We should not do. And for that reason, circular concept has come. Circular economy concept. What we have to recycle it, plastic or minerals, metals. We have to recycle and reuse. That is the solution for reducing pollution and conserving our resources. And to even paper also, for we are in India, most we are consuming more paper nowadays. This yeah, each for paper also we need cut. We have to cut trees. From where you will produce paper, and for that reason we have to our uh, resource use should be reduced, and we have to, so that during the course of use of this generation of goods, we are producing waste also. For industries, they are releasing lot of carbon dioxide, that is causing global warming. And for carbon sequestration, we have to plant more trees, so that this atmosphere carbon can be sequestered and stored in trees, so that we can reduce global warming. Yeah, that ozone layer, it is causing harm for that reason. And if it is causing, and that also leading to another problems, many, that ozone layer depletion also causing other ultraviolet rays, that is also affecting our agriculture production and forestry production, and causing diseases to animals and plants and other things. And these kind of things we have to address it. Yeah. uh, yeah, then we have to reduce our pollutants, no. And for that reason, we have to uh, uh, follow this pollution control board rules. And our pollution control boards also acting, and forest department also doing their job. This is our what is the duty of the forest department. That's what I want to emphasize you. And many of may be aspiring to become to take this career in the field of forestry side. Some people may be interested, no, forestry and wildlife. There are a lot of opportunities for you to come into forest services, because state level and other uh, even central level Indian Forest Service you can apply. And state level this range forest officer and conservator, assistant conservator forest exams you can apply. If you want to become a forest officer, these are the opportunities for after your graduation. You can apply for these exams, and you can become a forest officer. Or our council, like Indian Council of Forest Research, you can become a forest scientist also. You can. And Dehradun and other many areas, the forestry courses they are offering. You can uh, pursue BSc forestry, MSc forestry, and you can join as a scientist in our institute. Like that, many opportunities are there for you in our forestry sector also. That maybe you may be having different opinion ideas, you may be having different plans, but those who are you want to come to this field, this is also one of the uh, good profession. And there good opportunities are there for you, those who want to come to this field, forestry field. uh, and with this, if you want to ask me anything, I will tell. Otherwise, I will conclude, and then you can leave. Okay, then I will complete. Then you can proceed. Thank you. Thank you for coming.